Ambassador of the United Arab Emirates, Ali's lovely wife Tanya, warm welcome. The Charge Affairs of the United States Embassy to China, friend from January of 2020 when I was the resident coordinator in Kenya. And I met him for the first time now as the Assistant Secretary of State for Trade. My colleagues from the UN family, the diplomatic missions present here, colleagues online, members of civil society, Chinese government, or present, or protocols, etc. Let's jump straight in, and it is to look at gender equality as one of the most critical aspects of the sustainable development goals. And why is that? What we've seen in the global ecosystem is clear. Where women have been central to the pillar of advancing economic growth, we have seen those nations grow. So when the term demographic dividend is used, it should not be used as jargon or an intellectual vibe, but more about what constitutes a true demographic growth. And that has what I call 4 E's. The first E is the education and skills. The second is the empowerment, and to make sure that women are fully equipped and empowered to be equal partners in social progress. The third is employment, and getting women into the workforce. Nation states that saw velocity in their economic growth and takeoff were where women were part of the labor force. Countries, many countries in the world with enormous potential have got left behind simply because of the absence of women in the labor force, and therefore creating state of dependency and, and 4 E's equity. And when we have 50% of our population left behind, and this is what President Obama said when he came to Kenya. I was there as the UN resident coordinator. It was amongst his last visits. And he deplored the issues of traditional harmful practices that took place in many parts of Africa, including Kenya, and one of the challenges that we faced there was very high rates of female genital mutilation. And what it was doing was forcing women into early marriage. They were being deprived of the opportunities of achieving their full human potential. So therefore, again, it was an obstacle to Kenya's own development progress. And this did not have nothing to do with religion. It crossed religious divides. It was just a culture issue. So I think the issue today is, why is it that today 2 countries like the United Arab Emirates and China have shown this velocity and progress? Today we are looking at women in science. I'm proud to say that there was a Chinese physicist in my own university in Princeton long before I was there, who was part of the Manhattan Project. How many people know what the Manhattan Project was all about? And she was very much the pillar of making the Manhattan Project successful. We have a Chinese scientist called Yu, who created the malaria tablets, which actually, and she subsequently got the Nobel Prize. So there is a lot to show. In the UAE, we already have the space program, where it's actually being led by a woman, and the number of women scientists that we have seen in the ecosystem there is one that we want to celebrate and bring focus on. So we felt, as ambassador of the UAE and I, when we met for the first time, we said, look, something that should bring the UN and the UAE together, and we felt gender was the right part to advance this discussion on. So we decided that we would co-author an op-ed, and the op-ed was published by Forbes about women in STEM, and then that led to a further discussion on saying, how do we keep this engagement going? That op-ed should not be a one-off. How do we actually take part in thought-provoking discussions? So the gender digital divide and connectivity use of devices, skills, job is real. And on the International Day of the Girl Child, the Secretary General of the United Nations pointed out there is a massive gap in internet usage across geographies and generations. The global internet user gender gap is growing from 11% in 2013 to 17% in 2019. And it is the widest in the world's least developed countries at 43%. In middle and higher income countries, only 14% of girls were top performers in science or mathematics, expected to work in science and engineering, compared to 26% when you are looking at top performing boys. So we are co-hosting this event with the Embassy of the United Arab Emirates in light of the increasing interest in gender equality. In fact, the World Economic Forum 2021 ranked the United Arab Emirates as a leading country in gender equality in the region. Amongst many successes, the UAE is particularly successful in equality in education. The literacy rate for men and women is close to 95%, and 77% of Emirati women enroll in higher education after secondary school. And most interestingly, 56% of UAE government's university graduates in science, technology, engineering, and maths, which is STEM, are women. Thus, no wonder the Emirates has great stories to be shared with all of us, and in particular this topic that we are keen to learn about. As noted by China's President Xi Jinping in his remarks on the 25th anniversary of the Beijing Declaration, as you recall, Hillary Clinton was here for the Beijing summit in 1995, and she made a pretty remarkable comment and a remark which still has remained part of a quote. She says, "Women's rights is human rights." And today, the more we advance the whole sphere of gender equality, the better off we are. And I quote President Xi Jinping at the Beijing Declaration, he said, we still have a long, I quote, "We still have a long way to go and need to work real hard to build a world in which women are free from discrimination as well as a society of inclusive development." End of quote. So which better place than to have a gathering where I have the US here, I have the UAE here, many other missions here, where we can actually get together at the home of multilateralism, which is the United Nations, and talk about a topic which is central to the acceleration of the Sustainable Development Goals, a topic which is central to the acceleration of human development, and a topic which is very much central to the acceleration of humanity. Thank you. Warm welcome.